Good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. Happy Friday. The weekend is here, and we got a really fun show with a lot of different news for you today, including Skyward Sword just breaking. All right, Nintendo stocks are down more than they've been since 2019, and maybe things are getting a little panicky. Plus, is Nintendo bouncing back and teasing something big for Switch? And why do they keep screwing over The Legend of Zelda? What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. I love you all. I'm so glad to be here today. I'm pumped, I'm psyched, and we're ready to go. So smash that like button. Let me know what you're thinking and what you feel about today's topics in the comments down below. I love hearing from you. It's like a personal conversation between you and I, like a telephone call, except with our fingers. Now, one thing I like to put my fingers on is the Lexar Play Card, the best memory card for Nintendo Switch. The great folks at Lexar sponsor Good Morning Mario this month. I love them a lot, and I love their product. Thankfully, it's one that I can give 2 solid thumbs up to. Click the link in the description down below to check the play cards out for yourself. They come from small to medium to huge, all the way up to 1 terabyte, and you won't regret it. It's a great pickup, and each time you click, it helps support the show. Now, Zelda Skyward Sword ain't supporting its players, right? This game has had a little bit of controversy around the Loftwing amiibo, and then it came out and people were like, oh yeah, Skyward Sword, better than we remember. It reviewed super well. Now, Skyward Sword, it's breaking. Okay, earlier this week, there was a glitch that was popping up where in the mines, this crate was getting stuck and it was like a soft lock, players couldn't get past it. Well, now today we're finding out about a complete breakdown of the game where at the final boss, it is freezing to a white screen. Defeat the final boss, no credits, no cinematics, just boom. That's it, it's over. And after people were posting about this problem, this glitch on Reddit, it became clear that there's a culprit. And that culprit is the language options. Apparently, if you are playing this game with the Dutch language options, it doesn't let you get to the final cinematic and watch the credits roll, which is your salvation and your reward for defeating the final boss. No spoilers here, of course, but it's a pretty cool completion, and they're not getting it. They're finding that if they change the language to English, then it does save the day. It's just a super strange bug, and hopefully something Nintendo can patch, especially since there have been a couple of other issues with the game. It seems like it's been a successful port, but I hope they can clean this up. Let me know if you've experienced any Skyward Sword glitches in the comments, and we've got more to talk about Zelda later in the show. Ultra quick shout out to the merch, which is going away on Sunday, all right? So if you wanna grab the tee or the color block hoodie, you only got a couple hours left. Links and coupon code in the description. Now, yesterday was Sales Figures Day, which means Nintendo gets to tout their numbers. And they were pretty darn great, except they weren't as great as 2020. We talked about how it's pandemic related, Animal Crossing New Horizons related, and they didn't really have like some big game to sort of center everything around so far in 2021. Well, apparently, investors are feeling a bit skittish about Nintendo because the stock price fell by 8.8% today. That's the most it's fallen since February of 2019, over 2 years, and they're predicting that it's not gonna get better. They think Nintendo's numbers will be even worse in the next quarter, and I'm guessing it's because there aren't any humongous games to really help the rebound. Now, again, it's like Nintendo and the Switch are still super successful, so rebound feels weird to say, bounce back feels weird to say. They're still crushing it, they're just not crushing it as much. And if we look at this quarter, July through September, it's basically Mario Golf and WarioWare, which are fun games, but they're not really mega sellers, and they're not gonna do gangbusters at your Walmarts, your Targets, and your Best Buys. So Nintendo will probably need to wait until the fall gaming season with the Switch OLED hopefully making a big push and more of their games like Mario Party Superstars and Metroid Dread before they see the stock prices try to get back to where they were before. Quick fun note for you theme park fans, Nintendo tweeted about Super Nintendo World coming to Hollywood next. It's coming to Universal Studios in California in a couple of years, but they've already started releasing merch and you can grab it now in the parks. I just thought that was pretty cute. But now let's talk about something darker, and make sure to get your comment fingers ready and let me know what you think Nintendo is teasing and what they're up to here. It's kind of got to be broken down into 2 parts. So let's talk about the 35th anniversary of Metroid. Today is the day, and Nintendo tweeted, on this day 35 years ago, bounty hunter Samus Aran landed on planet Zebes when Metroid launched in Japan. They then went on to share a new little teaser trailer and some information, basically saying, hey, this game has a ton of flexibility like Super Metroid, and fans got excited about sequence breaking and exploring the world in the ways and order that they want to. But here is where it gets very interesting and kind of upsetting. All right, so let's go with interesting first. All right, so Nintendo made a series of tweets, and one of them was detailing the history of Metroid, and they posted about 4 games in honor of today's anniversary: the original Metroid, Super Metroid, Metroid 2, and Metroid Fusion. Now, those last 2 are on Game Boy and Game Boy Advance, and people have zeroed in on these posts about Metroid because they believe that Nintendo might be teasing new additions to Nintendo Switch Online. All right, they keep hammering the fact that Metroid Dread has a history behind it, that it has these games that if you want to experience the full franchise, if you want to know why this game is so important, you gotta play. And 2 of them are available on Nintendo Switch Online, and they've talked about that. They said you can get Metroid and Super Metroid with your Nintendo Switch Online subscription and download the games. But then they discuss Metroid 2 and Metroid Fusion, and you can't play those on Switch. Well, they continue to bring this up, and they did once again today on the 35th anniversary, and it begs the question, why are they highlighting games that you can't get your hands on? And some people really think that Nintendo is teasing that these games will in fact be available before or at the Metroid Dread launch. Now let's evaluate that for a moment here, all right? Nintendo has not updated Nintendo Switch Online in this way in a while. We expected them to do big updates every year, and they kind of skipped out September 2020. Now, September is when people's Nintendo Switch Online memberships usually roll over because that is when the service started, and that is where you would expect a big substantial change. September is also the month where Nintendo houses their Fall Direct, so it kind of is lining up. And then you consider that Metroid Dread is out in October. They keep touting these old games that are on handheld platforms, and we know that the OLED screen model releasing alongside Metroid Dread is exclusively beneficial to portable players, right? It's the same experience on your TV, but when you play handheld, that's when you get the OLED screen, that's when you get the brighter colors, that's when you get the bigger screen. So adding in handheld games around the same time that a handheld-centric new Switch model launches, around the same time that a 2D Metroid that's perfect for handheld play comes out, it does make a lot of sense. Nintendo would have a ton of cool games that they could push out, and they would correlate to some of the titles launching later this year. I mean, we do have Advance Wars, which was a Game Boy Advance franchise. We do have Metroid, which has Fusion, of course, as one of the most popular and fun games in the entire series. We even have WarioWare Get It Together, which originated as a very handheld-centric type experience. Now, I'm not saying they would release old WarioWares or Advance Wars, because that would probably cannibalize sales, and you have to wonder if Metroid might do the same, but I think those games are far enough behind us that maybe they would just enhance the fun. And if they can soup up the launch of the Switch OLED by kind of bundling in this Game Boy Advance Nintendo Switch Online launch, that might be a way to generate a lot of enthusiasm and get players excited about playing this thing portably with that new perfect screen. Now, I think this sounds fantastic, and I have said many times I'm all for Nintendo expanding their virtual console. In fact, I think it's a huge mistake if they don't. The way they've handled it is just silly to me. They're so slow, and they're missing out, and there's an opportunity, and they're not doing it. It sucks for fans, and it sucks for them. Like, why not take advantage? But I'm not necessarily sure that these Metroid tweets are really waving their arms and saying, guess what, Game Boy's coming. Like, it is odd that they keep mentioning these games, yet at the same time, they're just a part of the franchise, and they do happen to be on handheld platforms, but that's just where they were. So I need you to let me know if you do think this adds up, if it lines up, if you believe Nintendo is looking to add Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games to Nintendo Switch Online, and if the launch of Metroid Dread and the Switch OLED and the September Direct and the September Nintendo Switch rollover, if it all makes too much sense, please tell me if this is crazy or if you think it's gonna happen. I know I would be so grateful, and I am looking forward to some substantial updates to the system coming in that September Direct. I think a new model is the perfect time to launch themes. If goodness gracious you're ever gonna do it, can we please have some themes? And then yeah, expanding NSO seems like the right move. Okay, onto the sad side of things. It's really such a crime that Zelda got so shafted. And I don't know if it's pandemic related or just their plans, or maybe it's because Breath of the Wild 2 ain't quite ready. Do you know that Nintendo didn't even tweet about The Legend of Zelda on its anniversary? That was February 21st of this year. Metroid gets these series of tweets, people are all excited if they're teasing something, they go through the lore and the history of the franchise. Do you know what happened on Zelda's anniversary? Nintendo tweeted about Part-Time UFO. Now, I'm not trying to throw shade at Part-Time UFO, but why is Nintendo throwing so much shade at Link and Zelda? They are getting so little love for being the most or second most important franchise that Nintendo has in their nostalgic past. We're getting a Game & Watch. I don't know, maybe it's foolish thinking, but I am hopeful that Nintendo somehow conjures more magic to pay homage to Zelda. Maybe it ends up being closer to Breath of the Wild 2, or maybe it ties into Game Boy stuff coming in Nintendo Switch Online and they can drop the Oracle games or Minish Cap. Those would be great additions, but this franchise deserves better, all right? I really believe that. I also believe in you, and that's why we do a community poll every weekday evening on the community tab. If you're not participating, get over there. It's a good time. Today I asked, where do you play your Switch most often? And the results were pretty interesting, all right? Only 1% of you play standing up. Well, I'm surprised it's even 1%. 2% play outside. 49% said you play in bed and laying down as your primary method. Now that is a lot of lounging around. Or maybe you just play late at night after a long day at work or school. I guess it makes a lot of sense. The Switch's portability is perfect for that. I even made a video about playing Switch in bed way back when, funny video. I like playing Switch in bed as well, but I'm such a Pro Controller person that I end up playing at a desk or table, which was 9% of the vote, and then 40% on a chair or couch, which could be either. That could be portable, or that could be couch to the TV. A lot of different variety in how we play our Switch, and I guess the flexibility and the hybrid nature is what makes this thing special. You all are all special just because you're you, and I hope that you have a special weekend. Enjoy yourselves, okay? Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. I love you a lot. Make sure to hit that like button. Let me know your take in the comments down below, and until next week, my friends, I love you a lot. SwitchForce, out.